Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Redmen TV. It is daily news time. I'm flying solo today as we are a bit thin on the ground for staff, but I've got the lovely Tom Dutton behind the scenes. Say hello, Tom.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hello from Tom. What are we got to talk about today, Tom? Has there something happened today?
I think we signed a certain ginger centre half.
You think so? That's right. We've signed a player. Yes, we have. We've signed Berg from PEC Zwolle over in the Netherlands. What do you make of it, everyone? Are you happy? Are you pleased? Are you underwhelmed? Me personally, I am very happy with the signing. I like this style of signing from Liverpool. It's it's a player for the future. You know, we signed Joe Gomez in 2015 when he was just 18 years old. 4 years down the line, at 22, he is a first-team player next to Virgil van Dijk, and I think that's what Jurgen Klopp's got in mind for this guy. You know, he's played 15 times in the Eredivisie already. Really physically very built. He's 6'2". Only cost us £1.3 million, and as I'll show you on the screen right now, Paul Joyce revealed earlier that Bayern Munich was sought to hijack the Sepp van der Berg's move to Liverpool whilst he was having his medical on Merseyside. So he's a player that is heavily sought after by other huge clubs. So I made up with it, to be honest. I really like what the guy's about. I'll give you some of the quotes from his interview that you'll see on screen here. He's saying, so how does it feel to be joining Liverpool? Can you put it into words? It's just amazing. For me, it's the biggest club in the world and it's a dream come true. I'm really excited. We are the biggest club in the world and we are very, very glad to have you, Sepp van den Berg. And one of the most exciting things I think that one of his quotes say in the interview is that they asked him, you know, what are your plans here at Liverpool? What do you expect? And he said, I'm nervous, to be honest, but I'm really excited and it's to be expected. But he said, short term, I want to develop myself. And I think that that's obviously the sort of signing he is. He's going to join the under-23s and hopefully train a lot with the first team as well. But he said, long term, I want to be a legend. And that is the sort of player you want at Liverpool, a guy whose ambition is to come and make his name in the history books here at this fantastic football club. So welcome to Liverpool, Sepp van der Berg. Really nice to have you. Let me know in the comments what you think of the guy. Are you excited about the signing? And maybe this will be the kicker for a summer of fruititious transfers. We will see. But talking about transfers, if you haven't already, go over to the Redmen News YouTube channel on the screen right now. I think it's by the 8th of July, is it, Tom? That is when all the videos, all these news videos you're watching right now will be put onto that channel. Paul and Chris's aim is to get this channel to 10,000 subscribers before that date. They've got my family, so if you don't get it there until then, they will not be released. So do me a favour. It's going to be good. There's a lot of jargon as to why we're putting it onto this channel, but just go over there, hit the subscribe button, and make us a happy channel. So, apart from the Van der Berg signing, we've got various transfer rumours, as you always do every day. Are you okay, Tom?
Well, that Paul Joyce tweet also talks about Camacho to Sporting Lisbon, which is quite interesting as well.
Yeah, that is, as you can see on the tweet, Camacho is poised for a permanent transfer to Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, an out-of-favour right back at Liverpool. He came out earlier on in the year, sort of with an Instagram post saying, you know, I'm not a right winger, I'm not a right back, sorry, I'm a right transfer. Something that's exciting a lot of people because it's a bit mad and it's a bit mental, and that is the one and only Kylian Mbappe having a picture taken with Daniel Sturridge over in America. Is this I score goals, and that kicked up a bit of a stir with Liverpool fans. But what do you think of Rafa Camacho? Are you happy to let him go? Do you know much about him? Are you upset with that? But I don't know. This has been, you know, it started with the LeBron James stuff, and then Paul Joyce added to the fire. What's happening now? Like, I like this sort of stuff. It's funny, you know. I like the fact that back in the past we would not even been in the conversation with a player like Kylian Mbappe, and even if it might just be sort of a wild fantasy of Liverpool. I like the fact that we're sort of enjoying this little ride that we're on with the fantasy of potentially signing Kylian Mbappe. So I quite like that. And, you know, Daniel Sturridge and Kylian Mbappe looking super suave over there in America. But something concrete, oh, well, I say concrete, something that's been consistent, shall I say, throughout the summer is this man, Bruno bloody Fernandes. Is this becoming, as a genuine question to you guys, is this becoming the 2019 Fekir? Because it seems that way, that this guy, although he's not seemed destined to sign for Liverpool, it seems he's one of him and Nicolas Pepe are the two names that are constantly being dragged up in reference to Liverpool. And the latest from the Metro is that Liverpool are to meet Bruno Fernandes' agent in London to finalise a second proposal. So as we know, Portuguese outlets Correio da Manhã claimed that Liverpool have already submitted a £40 million offer for Fernandes and are not planning to raise that bid. But the Metro understands that the agent of Bruno Fernandes will be in England this Friday, which I think is true, but it's Manchester United and Tottenham that have been mentioned in the conversation. But the Metro claim that we are to meet their agent as well. What do you make of that? Do you think there's any credence in this Bruno Fernandes stuff? I'm in two boats, because sometimes if names are brought up specifically and constantly for a long time, it's either because there's something in it, or they're driven. Liverpool are being used to drive up the price for rival teams like United and Spurs. Same with Nicolas Pepe and the clubs that are interested in him. But I'm hoping that this gets put to bed once and for all this weekend, as I'm hoping that he will be signing for some team in the not so distant future, just to end this sort of speculation because I'm from the Netherlands. But we'll get into some comments. Tom, have we got anybody sending some love our way?
We do. Obviously, we've done me and you have just done a show on.
And I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing what could be a nothing story. But let me know in the comments, do you think there's any credence to the Bruno Fernandes stuff? And is he sort of top of your priority list now we've signed, this young prospect?
Berg talking about is the signing in depth and detail. So go on the Redmen TV and check that out. It's on the screen right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not out yet. It'll be out in about 5-10 minutes, but go on there. But yeah, sorry. Johnny Walker says, the future's bright, the future's orange, which I thought was funny. Yep. But then Liam Miller says, we can obviously build them up, got huge potential, great signing. Yeah,
I agree, mate, definitely. I think it is one for the future, and you've got to look at it in the sense of we've got 4 very good centre-halves, whether you call Lovren very good or not. He's a proven Premier League centre-half, bags and bags of experience, and you've got to look at it as Van Dijk, Gomez, /Matip, and then Lovren. They're 4 excellent centre-halves to have at the football club, and probably centre-halves that aren't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So to learn, he says himself, he's really excited to learn under Virgil van Dijk. He got asked the question, actually, there's 2 senior Dutch players here at course. Were they a factor in your decision? He said, not really, but I was thinking, if I can train with them, especially Virgil, for me, he's the best defender in the world, so I can learn a lot from him. So he's definitely one for the future. And as I said earlier, Joe Gomez, it only took him 4 years of being under Jurgen Klopp and being under the training staff over at Melwood to develop into a player that was of first-team quality. And what a player Joe Gomez is now, obviously hampered a little bit by injury, but nobody can deny he's talented and he's got bagless amounts of class on the ball. But I really like what this guy stands for. Tom's watched a bit of his highlights, and what do you reckon of him, Tom?
He was exactly what we want. He calm, composed on the ball.
Yeah.
He just liked to play out the back. He looked like an attacking threat. Obviously, it's a different level. It's the under-19s. But if you all can, on YouTube, after this video, go and watch him playing against Portugal under-19s and just watch just how good he is.
Yeah.
He looks like a Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
But
and he was asked actually in the interview, what for the people who don't know about you, what can you offer to Liverpool Football Club? And he said, I'm a centre-half, I'm calm with the ball, I'm quite quick, I can run, but I came here especially to improve myself more. And I think that's such a huge takeaway from this, is that Liverpool are huge. Obviously, people know Liverpool Football Club are huge, but they're huge in terms of young prospects, in that he said, I want to come here because I've seen the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, I've seen Joe Gomez coming out of the academy and just flourishing, becoming. Trent Alexander is the best player in the world in his position, in my opinion, and Gomez with a full season under his belt would certainly be in the conversation as the best English centre-half, maybe one of the best centre-halves in the league or Europe. So I love the fact that we have that pull about us, that young players, young prospective players that are liked by the likes of Bayern Munich are also a huge club. I've seen people say that he was being scouted to replace De Ligt over at Ajax, so clearly a massively talented player. So the fact that we've got him under our wing now and we can train him up in our regime, it gives me massive confidence into what he could become in the future.
Just on Mbappe, Jay York says, controversial opinion, I don't want Mbappe.
I think you're right. I think I preferably don't want Kylian Mbappe. I think he's a phenomenal footballer, and I think that he's one of, if not, well, he's definitely in the conversation of one of the best strikers in world football, and he's so young already. But that, of course, and it's the exact same with Kylian Mbappe. If you were to bring in a guy who would demand £250,000, £300,000 a week, completely blows the wage structure out of the equation. Virgil van Dijk is in the opposites here, isn't it? You've signed a young player here that doesn't upset the status quo of Liverpool. If you're going to bring in a De Ligt, you're upsetting the wage structure, you're upsetting the current centre-half you've got at the club is to be believed for a £200,000 contract, who needs the best player at the club by a mile. So to bring a guy in who's had no experience in the Premier League, who's proven himself in France, okay, I think, and France internationally, but to bring him in and straight away make him the highest paid player by a substantial distance, it's not what Liverpool are about. Liverpool are about going back to their roots here, signing this Van der Berg guy, training them up, believing in this young talent that Klopp can nourish into a player that will thrive. So as much as Kylian Mbappe is nice to entertain the idea and it is funny, I don't know if he'd be a signing we'd make personally, but I completely agree with you there.
This is a question from me then, Bailey. If he was willing to take a wage cut to about, let's say, Salah's wages, 180,000 a week, would you have him?
Yes. And I think everyone in the comments, let me know if that would be the kicker to sign him, because, as I said, I'm a huge fan of him. I think he clearly knows about Liverpool. He's on Liverpool's radar. He's been pictured with Sturridge, with LeBron James. He's been vocal in that interview, obviously, saying, who would you, I think it was about a FIFA or a PES game, who would you play as right now? And he said Liverpool, they're the champions of Europe. He's been vocal about him liking Liverpool. If we could fit him in for Salah's wages, because, but even then, I don't know. I think yes.
He would be an amazing player, wouldn't he?
Yes,
He would tear up everyone.
Yes.
We saw him when we played him in the Champions League, and he was fantastic. It is just the wages and the price that would be the problem. And he's
about 20 odd million euros a year, which is still on stupid money, but he's taken that pay cut to go and play with Messi and Suarez again, and hopefully win the Champions League. But
it's not Liverpool's fault.
He's put himself in a golden cage, and you see him with Neymar at the minute. There's obviously the negotiations between PSG and Barcelona of Neymar taking sort of a third of his for the right price. But it just seems so far-fetched for us that, although I think we're in the ballpark of being able to sign these superstar players, we are the champions of Europe, we are the hottest property on the market right now. I don't think it'd be a case of Kylian Mbappe saying no to us if we offered him the money. It's, could he work out a way where it goes not about the money, and it's about the football and playing for a phenomenal club that are only phenomenal as a team because there's so much harmony there in wages and understanding and rewarding players based on their ability and the performances they've put in. So it's a really interesting question. You got one last comment, Tom?
Just a lot of people saying that they want Mbappe, forget about the money, pay these players. But no, it is fair. Someone wants to ask you, actually, I found it before, sorry, I didn't save it, but João Felix, 126 mil. Quick thoughts?
Neymar has ruined this football thing that we all love and enjoy to watch, don't we? I mean, this market is completely broken. And there was an interesting tweet from Chris Williams the other day saying, Neymar's gone to PSG and gone back to Barcelona in 2 years, and all he's achieved is blowing up the market. It's just, his signing has skyrocketed everybody's price, and I've not seen a lot of João Felix, to be fair, to the kid, but I think he's 19. He's Portuguese, plays for Benfica. Is he worth?
I think he's younger than that. I think he's 17.
17. Wow. I mean, a guy of that. We're signing 17-year-old centre halves.
No, you're right. 19. Sorry.
Just ignore Tom. If Tom ever comes in with a fact, just brush it aside. But no, I think that's nuts. I think that's absolutely ludicrous, and that would be a deal that I wouldn't sanction Liverpool to do in a million years. A guy who's not particularly proven in a tough league. He might have all the class and all the talent in the world, but I wouldn't risk blowing up the entire harmony of our football club for it. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinion in the comments on everything we've talked about Mbappe, about Van der Berg, about Bruno Fernandes, if you're even that arsed anymore. But as you can see on the screen right now, get on over to theredmentv.com. There will be the announcement and the sort of reaction from myself and Tom to signing Sepp Van der Berg in about 10 minutes, as he said earlier. Get on over and check that out. We've got lots of boss content over there. We did the summer football show over here, the Slabheads and P-Heads, referring to Harry Maguire and David Silva, talking about sort of the transfers that are going on in the wider breadth of football, not just Liverpool. Loads of boss content coming out. We've got what's that show called?
Squad Analyzer.
The Squad Analyzer.
At 3 o'clock. Squad Analyzer. Paul and Chris going through every player in the squad, seeing where we need to bolster, how each player can...
Sort of new board that me and Tom painted. And finally, If you like the women's football, the women's World Cup stuff, England are playing who tonight, Tom?
Norway.
Norway in the, is it the semi-final, quarterfinals?
Quarterfinal.
The quarterfinals of the Women's World Cup. So make sure you go over and check the Women's RMTV Women's Podcast YouTube channel out for all their content. They do some excellent work over there. They're very close to 1,000 subscribers. If you could get them to 1,000 subscribers by tonight, that would mean the world to us here at Redmen TV. They do excellent work over there. But that is it from me. That is it from Tom. Thank you very much for watching the Daily News, and we'll be back with you tomorrow for a bit more. Cheers.